It's Friday on the Cam Show, powered by Rogue Media Sports Network, and today we're going over this new NBA CBA, which I have dug deep into and what that's going to do to your favorite team. We're also picking the teams that we want to build into dynasties. We're going to change the landscape of college football, and speaking of that college football landscape, we do Guys Naming Dudes, College Edition, and you find out who my favorite college football player of all time is. All that and more. I almost come to tears with that, truly. All that and more on the Cam Show, brought to you by Rogue Media Sports Network. Music! Play it. Welcome on into the Cam Show, powered by Rogue Media Sports Network. The NBA is trying to kill the dynasty. The thing that has really separated the league from the other leagues and other sports for years was the constant dynastic talk going on in this association. And now they don't want that anymore. They don't want the Russell Celtics. They don't want the Showtime Lakers. They don't want Jordan's Bulls. They don't want the Spurs. They don't want the Warriors. They don't want the Kobe Shaq Lakers. They're done with it. All thanks to this new CBA and the second apron, the dreaded second apron. And look, I get it. Before I get into this, let me make this clear. I get what they're going for. It's not going to reap the results that they want. Just like the last CBA, by the way, where they softened the cap, they made sure you could sign your own guys, and it didn't work the way they wanted it to as well. So we all know it's coming, that second apron, and there are a couple of teams right now, I mean pretty much all the contenders right now, that are either going to be backed up against it or over that second apron, including my Boston Celtics. They're there. And while there's been aprons in the past and certain thresholds that you had to meet, or there'll be some sort of penalty, the penalties weren't that harsh. Now they are. Because once you go over that second apron, you've got a lot of shit coming your way. Your mid-level exception, that's cut in half. The biannual exception, lose that entirely. Sign and trades, no mas. No more of that. That was a big thing that came around the last CBA, so teams could circumvent that. Not anymore. And that luxury tax, that's gross. That is gross. Up to a 600% tax, depending on how many times you go over the second apron, which means your veteran minimum, those guys you're trying to add who are looking for rings, who are just jags, decent players, role players, that veteran minimum becomes $12 million in taxes in that 600% tax rate. And again, yeah, for those role players who are ring chasing, they're trying to find another one, and they know they've got some good basketball left in them, you can pretty much only sign them for the minimum. That's all you can do. In the buyout market, you can't do that either. You are really, really up shit's creek if you pass that second apron. And if you do it more than once in the span of 4 years, your first-round draft pick 7 years away is frozen and will drop to the bottom of the first round. So you will get the worst first-round pick no matter what, and you can't trade it. And everything you trade has to be like for like in terms of money. So all of a sudden, you're starting to get rid of your guys, your best guys, for 10 cents on the dollar, and you don't have a choice. You can't throw in cash considerations in there. You can't trade second-round picks. You're done. Man, that sucks. You know why? Because even in this era of parity, the last 6 years have garnered 6 NBA champions, 6 different champions, which is awesome. But every team but one since the last CBA, which is 2011-2012, they were all over this second apron threshold, whether it was the year they won it or the year after. So even if you're not producing multiple championships, this is the price of doing business to win in this league. And again, the NBA is known for its dynasties. The beginning of this, I just rattled off like 6 just like that, like it's nothing. Because in the last 60 years, the NBA has had 18 champions, which is like, okay, that seems about right. until you realize that the NHL, its winter sport counterpart, in the same time frame has had 22, and MLB has had 23. Because those leagues are already built to not have as many dynasties, but also it doesn't hurt the teams that are doing it the right way, which brings me to my greater point. What this is going to do is this is going to really penalize the teams that are building the franchises the way you're supposed to do. In the perfect world, this is how you do it. Because I look at the last dynasty and potentially what could be the last dynasty in the NBA for a long time, the Golden State Warriors. Tell me they didn't do it the right way? Like, yeah, they went and signed Kevin Durant, and a lot of people held that against Durant more than anything. That stunk, and that got them 2 more championships. Don't get me wrong. There's no dynasty without Kevin Durant. But you look at what they had already built. Steph Curry, drafted. Klay Thompson, drafted. Draymond Green, drafted. And later on, Andrew Wiggins, 10 cents on the dollar. Good move. They won 2 championships without Durant as well, and they did it with homegrown guys. You look at the model in this parity league that is the NBA now, those last 6 champions, they all have something in common. When you look at the second round of the Warriors after Durant, you look at Milwaukee, you look at Denver, you look at Boston. They not only drafted a superstar, they drafted 2 of them. Klay Thompson and Steph Curry. Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown. Nikola Jokic and Jamal Murray. Giannis Antetokounmpo and Chris Middleton. Plus wise moves like Drew Holiday. Like, this is the blueprint now. And instead of letting that continue, which is the way it was going to go with the Supermax money and the luxury tax that was already in place. Instead, now with this second apron, it doesn't really matter because you might not be able to afford both of those plus the role players they need down the line. And who it's going to hurt is maybe the Celtics. Maybe the Celtics get in a couple championships before the second apron stuff really starts to hurt them, and maybe they're the last dynasty, but I don't know that I could say that. How about a team like Oklahoma City? This is one that has done it the right way. They tanked a little bit, but they made some shrewd moves. They have acquired a ton of draft capital. They were the youngest number 1 seed in history, and their golden era, which is coming up, might not be so golden because of the rules that the league is putting in place. SGA, MVP candidate, already got a max contract. Jay Will, you're going to need one of those next year. Chet's going to need one next year. All of a sudden, that's 3 max deal guys. You can't operate in this new league like that. And that's not even talking about the guy you just traded for, Alex Caruso, or the guy you just paid a lot of money to, not max money, but a good amount of money to, in Harkenstein. How do you sustain that? Especially when you have all those draft picks that you can't trade once you go over the apron. Why are we punishing a team like that? That has scouted and developed and used good draft strategy. Why? Or even a team like the Celtics that went out and splashed some money. They drafted their 2 superstars. They made a really nice deal for Derek White to get him in the door. He deserved the money that he's got. They made shrewd moves for Drew Holiday and Kristaps Porzingis, traded guys that they had grown through their system. So why do they get punished for it? Or how about the team that Derek White came from? Why are we going to punish a team like the Spurs, who pretty expertly draft all the time? They got Kawhi in the middle of the first round. They got Derek White and DeJounte Murray at the same spot in the draft, 29. And they got their generational guy. They got Wemby. They got another top 10 pick in Sohan. They got good value on Devin Vassell. And now we're going to punish them as they are building a championship team potentially, because in a couple years, it becomes a lot more muddy. And the blueprint is not clear on how to do that. And I hear about how this is supposed to help the small market teams. Are San Antonio and Oklahoma City not small enough for you? Because it's not helping them. Or how about Denver? It's sure as shit not helping them. Their best role player from the championship team, Kentavious Caldwell-Pope, has to walk in free agency. Denver can't afford him. They can't afford 2 max guys and their best role player. And now you're going to start to see the effects like now. Jalen Brunson taking, $110 million less than the max? I don't care if they're giving it through his dad or not. That's a big sacrifice. You're already seeing it. Paul George, Clippers couldn't afford him because they see that luxury tax that's coming down the line if they go over the second apron and how screwed their franchise is going to be. Philly's like, we'll take a shot. Maybe we'll do that. It's not going to yield the results that the NBA wants in terms of we want more homegrown teams to run this league. It's a response to getting rid of super teams, which were already kind of going by the wayside. Teams that don't draft well and just use free agency and get these big stars and use free agency and buyout markets to fill out the rest. I'm looking at you, bubble Lakers. I'm looking at you, Clippers. I'm looking at you, old OKC to some degree when they had Paul George. It's those are already fizzling out. The market has gotten rid of those. Miami has completely changed the way its franchise is run. And has it had a dynasty like they did with LeBron, the back-to-back titles? No. They've been to a couple finals. They're close. And they've been doing that the right way. And now the NBA says we don't really care about doing it the right way anymore. So Celtics and Knicks and those kinds of teams that have developed stars but have put a lot of money into other guys externally, it's not going to work that way anymore. And personally, I find it too bad because even if you do, this is where the dynasty goes away. Because even if you do it the right way, let's say Oklahoma City gets a title in the next year or two before the apron stuff kicks in, and they've done it the right way. But we see it every year. These guys, these role players, their price goes up after winning a championship. Derek White, the latest example. He's a big contributor to the Celtics team. After they win the title, he signs for 4 years and $118 million. Like, that's what's going to happen to the other Jalen Williams and Alex Caruso and Harkenstein when he gets up for another contract. That's you won a title. That's what happens. That's what just happened to Kentavious Caldwell-Pope. You know, the Mavs just went to the finals, and Derek Jones, who was a vet min guy, gets $10 million a year now. So that's what you're looking at, NBA. A new champion every year, which to some degree is great. You know what I mean? But what it's going to become is the teams that can sustain it for years and years, much like the NFL, are going to be the ones who have stars who will take a pay cut. And that has to be radically different in the NBA because that has never happened. Never. We've had plenty of examples of it in the NFL. It's not everybody. Tom Brady, Patrick Mahomes even at this point is starting to. Peyton Manning did. It happens. And that's why those teams won. The NBA, there is no precedent for that. None. Because it's been a growing league the last 40 years. Why take less money? It's a league that embraces the star system so much, and yet now the stars need to take pay cuts. Not the worst thing, but the thing that made the NBA, what makes it, in a way, really compelling is its stars and its dynasties and the teams you're almost rooting for to lose. The highest rated NBA series in the last 4 years was a second round series 2 years ago because it was between the Warriors and the Lakers, LeBron and Curry. More higher rated than the finals that year. So that's what draws the interest to this game and to this league, is that you are always comparing players. You are always comparing teams. You are always comparing dynasties. It is a measuring stick for what makes greatness in this league. And for the foreseeable future, you will not have that anymore. So RIP the dynasty. A lot of us loved you. A lot more of us hated you. But it kept people showing up. It's too bad we won't have that anymore. We have got NCAA football dynasties to talk about, as well as the dudes you might have forgotten about. All that and more on The Cam Show, powered by Rogue Media Sports Network. Cam Show, Rogue Media Sports Network, Friday. And all Braden Murray's been doing all week is just just gaming away. You didn't even see the Hulk Hogan at the RNC last night.
Well,
it was everywhere on social media, and you were like, I was locked in.
You sent it to me, and I watched it, and I immediately forgot about it because it didn't have a lasting impact on my brain.
How does that not have a lasting impact?
I don't know. I was too busy playing.
It was funny, man.
Yeah.
It was funny, brother.
It was funny.
Brother. I mean, who didn't see that coming, first off? Like, I don't know.
Oh, he's a known.
Yeah, like he's been for decades.
Yeah.
He's been a pretty known Republican and a big Trump guy even since
Mm-hmm.
the 2016 election. That was I'm just still surprised he could still do it. I mean, he's what, like 80?
Yeah. Oh, he's old, brother.
And brother. His body's been through a lot. And like I see him getting red doing that, I'm like, this could be it. This could
On
be
TV.
it. But man, like, God, the guy can market, man. The guy can do a campaign. That was funny.
I saw
He knew that video was gonna get everywhere.
I saw a funny post on Twitter. It was side by side of Hogan and Trump, like in Trump's reaction, and then it was a picture of Eric Trump, and Trump was like clearly very bored and falling asleep. I thought that was.
That's great. That's great.
I thought that was funny.
So he likes Hulk Hogan more.
Than his
Clearly,
children.
yeah. But the reason why I brought that up is because you've been locked in so much on college football.
Mm-hmm.
How's it been going? How's your guy doing?
So on Road to Glory, my first Road to Glory, I was an underdog running back for Army.
Mm-hmm.
And my freshman year, I didn't see the field at all. And sophomore year,
at West Point. Yeah.
Sophomore year, I was RB number 1, but they don't run the ball very much. When they do, it's an option play or like an HB dive. And so, I got most of my yardage receiving, and I transferred at the end of the season to Florida International.
Okay.
Won the job there, and that's where I left it last night.
Gotcha.
And then,
Is that where Tom Herman is, or is he at FAU?
I think he's at FAU.
Okay, that makes more sense.
And then I made another Road to Glory, was a 4-star running back. And I'm at Washington State right now, starter there.
So you made 2 Road to Glories?
Yeah, I got bored of my being bad at football guy. So I made a significantly better one.
Okay.
Because I thought it'd be more
You're
fun.
like, I don't like the grind anymore.
No, this is boring. So I did that, and then
I've heard that's more lifelike now.
Yeah, it is much more
like it used to be. If you played, you were going to be good. Like kind of no matter what level you had it on. Like you were going to be a good player. If you were playing on rookie, you'd be like an all-time great player. But now it's like if you respect the grind, it is the grind.
It is very much the grind,
That's
and I'm running from it. I'll go back to it at some point, but I want to be a good football player. So
don't we all? Don't we all?
And
we want to escape reality of not being good football players like you and I.
I closed out the night by playing a little bit of my UAB dynasty. Did some recruiting, and I went on the road and beat Tennessee.
Whoa.
It was a day game, but.
On Rocky Top.
Yeah.
Neyland Stadium, 107,000 fans.
Mm-hmm.
Wow, good for you, man.
Proud of my boys.
Beat
Proud
the
of my
Vols.
boys.
That's what it's all about for me. I can't even picture myself as a football player, so I needed to always do dynasty mode.
Yeah.
And build a team with other people, with other names on the back of the jerseys. Which is like that was kind of the build up for years of like, whenever a team was really sucking in real life, they'd be like, can't wait for EA to bring it back so I could make this team a dynasty. So Braden, you actually had the idea of let's rank what teams we'd like to be. Mm-hmm. Because I know you were upset. There was an article explaining that you could be Georgia or Texas.
Yeah, I was just looking through like team overalls in preparation for this segment. I looked up, on Reddit and just Google in general, like best teams to rebuild. And they had 1 or 2 like teams that were in the muck. But then they also had Georgia, Oregon, Texas, Ohio State. I was like, what?
Unless you went to those schools, why do you want to do that?
Exactly.
Why do you want to do that? So you actually came up with the idea, let's rank them. Let's rank what teams we would want to lead.
We're in like the Sahara Desert of sports.
Yeah. We are, man. This is what I was predicting too the other day. I mean, not that it was this hot take, but it was like, oh my God, like All-Star Week is so brutal. You get those 2 days without anything going on. And then we break free from it, which we have today is Friday. Baseball is going to be played tonight, but it's precisely that. Baseball is going to be played tonight.
Yeah.
And for the next couple of weeks. We'll have a little bit with the Olympics, and then it's football.
Yeah, dude.
Yeah.
Football.
That's where the men come in. That's
Heck yeah.
pansy baseball shit. Football. And so we're getting into that spirit already. So we've ranked our top 3. We've not told each other, as we so often do. We don't like to spoil these things. So do you want to do one of us name the 3, the other name the 3?
I think we alternate.
Switch. Okay, alternate. All right. You want to go first? You want me to go first?
You can go first.
Let's start with our number 3. So our.
Oh, I didn't. Okay.
Did you? You didn't rank them?
I didn't rank them on a side with the list. But I'll rank them while you're going.
Okay. All right. Well. So I mean, with the dynasty mode, you really want to build a team up. Like that's the fun part. You want to build a team up. One that you find a soft spot in your heart, whether it's the mascot, or the uniforms, or where they're located, or one player that used to play there, or whatever. This was a tough one for me. This number 3 spot. Can I put an honorable mention in there?
Sure.
Okay. Actually, you know what? I'm not going to.
Okay.
Sorry, Braden. I have made that decision. I'm not going to.
Then
because I've now made a decision. I was between 2, and I was going to make one an honorable mention and one my number 3 spot. But it's going to spoil my dude. So I'm not going to do it.
Okay.
For guys naming dudes, it's just coming up later in the show. So I'm not going to do it. But just know the thought was there, and you'll find out about it later. Number 3, I am picking the Minnesota Golden Gophers.
Oh.
Formerly coached by Lou Holtz.
Right.
I'll pick Minnesota. The last 3-peat champion in college football. The Minnesota Golden Gophers. They did it like 80 years ago. And since then, it's been pretty shitty. Minnesota. You ever watched a Minnesota football game, Braden?
I don't think so.
I don't think you have either. Do you remember anyone that's played at Minnesota?
Did Dalvin Cook play there?
No.
Then
He
I
played
don't
at
know.
Florida State. And nor would you.
Yeah.
Nor would you. They have not been good in a long, long time. Lawrence Maroney played there. He was a Patriots first-round pick in 2006. But just a nothing. They exist in the Big Ten. Every once in a while, they make a bowl game. They actually had a really good coach they got rid of, Jerry Kill, because of the seizure thing, and he was great at New Mexico State. But I'm picking Minnesota because I love their logos. Okay, the M is distinctive. I really like that. I love the Gopher as a mascot.
Yeah.
I like that it's a nice campus within a city, Minneapolis, St. Paul.
Right.
I think it's actually in St. Paul. And they embrace hockey. I like that too.
Yeah.
So I'm picking Minnesota. I think they need something to go their way. I like the colors and the logo, and I want them to take down the powers in the Big Ten. My number 3 pick, Minnesota Golden Gophers.
Okay, my number 3 pick. Oh, I lost my list. Hold on, give me a second. There we go. My number 3 list.
names. It's 3 names.
My number
because
3
I lost
lit.
my list.
I didn't rank them at first, but I realized the first team that came to mind. Okay, that's probably number 1, and then I went from there.
Okay.
So number 3, Northwestern.
Okay.
And there's
sounds pretty similar.
There's kind of a through theme in these schools, and that they're kind of like academically very good, but bad at athletics.
You douche. Okay.
I don't know.
You didn't pick that in real life, by the way. You picked UAB in your real life video game.
Yeah.
Not
I'll
a
get to
bastion
these
of
other
academic.
teams. I'll get to these other teams at some point, but there's not really much explanation for Northwestern other than they're bad at football and
They're pretty bad. Yeah.
They're on one of the toughest conferences.
Although I mean, pretty good decade for them.
Yeah.
What, 2 Big Ten championship games? Miraculously made a bowl game last year. What would be cool with them this year is if you could play in their temporary stadium.
Oh, yes.
Their practice facility they were putting up the temporary bleachers at. And I don't think they installed lights like 10 years ago. It wasn't that long ago. Have you come across, as someone in the journalism world, have you come across a bunch of like Northwestern students in any of your jobs yet?
I don't think.
Oh God, they're fucking insufferable. They are insufferable. There's a couple that I like that I worked with on the Cape, but overall, they are insufferable. The Medill School of Journalism.
Oh, I do get emails from them.
So I don't like that part is it.
So these aren't guys from Northwestern, but
Okay.
when I went to the first round of March Madness in the spring, we played Colgate, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I didn't know this, but apparently Colgate is, they have pretty good academics there.
Yeah, no, it's a good school.
And they sent, I think might have been like
Pretty
their
damn good,
only
yeah.
journalism envoy was Barstool. They sent their Barstool guys.
Nice, man.
And
Who
they
might not even go to Colgate.
Right. They sent their Barstool guys. They were wearing suits to the game.
Love that.
They didn't even
Lean into
have
it.
like
Probably did go to Colgate then.
like seating credentials. So they just sat in the stands.
Love
And
that for them. I hope they made some content.
as we were leaving the stadium after our long day of work, I said, "Hey man, I'm sorry that y'all lost." And he goes, "Yeah, well, what's your SAT score?"
No, he did not.
He did. They did. I was like, "Oh, well, screw you."
First off, I saw a lot of that.
It was on Twitter
Let's
too.
not
yeah.
pretend like Baylor is fucking Coastal Carolina.
Right.
Here. Like, I mean, is it as good as Colgate? I guess probably not, but
Apparently not,
Baylor's
no,
a
but-
pretty good school
Yeah.
and has really raised its profile the last decade, and certainly since I left, it's starting to get better. Fuck that, dude. That's so
Yeah.
douchey, man. That's something Northwestern would do.
Okay.
That's something Northwestern would do. Absolutely. They would do that and they would do it to like Michigan, which is, one of the top public schools in America. Ohio State, great school, you know what I mean? That's the same kind of scenario that we're looking at. Oh, that's too bad. That's too bad. All right. Number 2 for me as a great patriot, I am going to select the school that seemingly everyone's going against in the actual video game because you and Zach both played at their rival school. I am picking the United States Naval Academy. Okay? It is time to make Navy great again. Our Navy. Okay? The middies. Look, would you call me a Navy brat because my great-grandfather went to the academy and graduated in 1923? I'll let you decide that. I'll let you decide that. I'm basically a legacy.
Legacy, yeah.
But that's that's a stretch. The Navy, important in our family. Grandmother actually was a Navy brat. I like rooting for Navy against Army. I don't really have a dog in the fight, if we're being totally honest. But I would like to see Navy succeed again.
I mean, I would rather
Even like 7 or 8 years ago, they had some decent teams. They had Keenan Reynolds there, but it hasn't been the same the last few years, and they're losing to Army, which stinks. So I'm taking Navy back into the rankings. Roger Staubach going to be at the games. The late Joe Bellino will be smiling down on us. Navy will be back. That's my number 2.
My number 2 is a team that Baylor played in the 2018 Texas Bowl.
That's a project right there, man.
The Vanderbilt Commodores.
I was on my other radio show yesterday, and the host asked if I knew who the quarterback was at Vanderbilt. And I was like, of course I fucking don't.
Yeah.
I don't know who the coach is at Vanderbilt.
I don't either.
No clue. I couldn't name you one player from Vanderbilt I could name you one in the last 10 or 15 years because he went off against Baylor in that one game, Keyshawn Vaughn. But anyway, the Commodores, if you will.
The Commodores. I have a very I mean, I thought
Are you
about
going to
going
bring in
here.
a woman to kick? Didn't they do that?
They did.
The
That was.
did that?
I think that was
Very progressive of you, Braden.
under my rule. We're gonna have an all women team.
Yes.
No dudes.
Yes. +1 retweet, brother.
Yes, dude.
You are doing the most. You are a feminist and
But
an ally.
I thought about
I'm
going.
sure.
Vanderbilt was on like my long list of schools. I thought about going there, and one of my football teammates from middle school, his brothers played football
Really?
at Vanderbilt. Yes.
Really. Now they can use the Colgate thing
Yeah.
because not only are they also really good, but the SEC.
Right. I was thinking. Yeah.
Its academic profile got raised by bringing in the University of Texas, which is a very good school. But yeah, like Vandy can use that against Mississippi State,
Yeah.
South Carolina,
Kentucky.
Florida, yeah. They could use that. They could
Yeah.
use that for sure. All right. Vandy, I believe in you. I believe in this all-female team.
I think it could work out. And maybe, the CFP committee, they don't want to be seen as sexist.
Yeah.
So they'll put us at number 1, even if we're like 8-4,
Hold their feet to the fire.
Yeah.
Don't put we don't want college football to be on the wrong side of history.
Right.
Vanderbilt's going to be on the right side of history under the tutelage of Braden Murray.
Yes, sir.
I'm excited to see that, actually. Are we at number 1 already?
Yes, we are.
Oh, my goodness. Already. This one's going to hit close to home.
Okay.
And it's a terrible athletic department. They really shouldn't be in Division I at all in football. They have had success in hockey as the national champions in 2021 or so. They had a great run in basketball in the 90s that went to a Final Four, although you won't see that banner hung up. That is the UMass Minutemen. No business being.
I thought about putting them on my list.
Just no business being an FBS. Absolutely no business. They should be playing with Rhode Island and New Hampshire and Maine in the FCS, but instead they're like, no, we're big time. And the last decade has proven they are not. They are not. They are homeless. They went from the MAC to independent, which they are now, and are going back to the MAC. So they can relive their rivalries with Toledo and Western Michigan. Their big rivalries now, they play New Mexico State every year. They beat New Mexico State last year, which actually won like 9 or 10 games. They play Vanderbilt as well. They played A&M a few years ago. They need a sturdy captain to steady this ship, and I can be that in NCAA football or college football 25. I am going to bring UMass back to greatness when they were the national champions in 98 of FCS.
Yeah, okay.
They play in the worst stadium. They have no uniforms, no recruiting base, no real lineage. They are. You think, they're near a major market in Boston. They are fucking not. They are closer to Albany than they are to Boston. Way out Western Mass, Amherst. No one gives a shit. I'm going to make them give a shit.
On college football,
UMass, my number 1.
On College Football Reference, their team history page, it goes from 1906, jumps to 2012.
Yeah, probably for Division I.
Yeah,
like 1A. They are, you can make an argument. This whatever decade plus, I think it's 12 years now, a dozen years they've been in 1A. They might be the worst program ever. They've just never been competitive at all at this level.
Yeah,
and they had to play at Gillette Stadium where the Patriots play when they first got in 1A because their stadium wasn't up to standard. And nobody gave a shit. Nobody went. Then they went back to the stadium on campus. It's the worst stadium in the country. And a couple years ago, they built in this new scoreboard, debuted it for homecoming weekend, and the fucking scoreboard fell over. That's what we're talking about with UMass. Zoom ass, baby. But I'm going to take them back.
That's bad. Okay. My number 1 is a school that I've seen Baylor play at this school.
Again?
Yes.
Oh. Is it also a really bad stadium?
I don't think it's a great stadium. I've seen actually a couple of games played here. I saw them play UTSA. I saw them play Baylor.
Oh, okay, yeah.
And that would
Which
be
is?
the Rice Owls.
Yeah, that is one of the worst stadiums in America, by the way.
Yeah, it's not very good. I would agree.
It's hosted a Super Bowl.
It has.
It's ugly.
In the 60s.
It seats about 70,000, which is
And it's hot. It's concrete.
an overestimation. It's gross. It's all bleachers and
Yeah.
concrete, and the bathrooms have not been updated since they hosted that Super Bowl 60 years ago. Oh, that place is the fucking worst.
Yeah.
Off a really nice campus in a nice part of town.
And it's right by the medical center, so I see it. I see the stadium quite often.
Yeah, I bet. Not an illustrious football history either.
No. I mean, the reason I'm picking them is because they're Houston.
Mm-hmm.
They're probably I would prefer them over Houston.
Yeah, fuck Houston.
Yeah.
Fuck UH, man.
And also, I just remembered that about over a decade ago, right around the time that NCAA football 14 came out,
Mm-hmm.
that's the first time I asked my mom, "Hey, can I get this game?" She said yes. So we've come full circle now.
Wait, what was the first? Rice
I was at the Rice UTSA
okay.
game when I asked my mom,
Gotcha. I missed that. Sorry.
"Can I get this video game?"
I was like, that's just 2 video games. Full circle. That's cool. That's cool. Rice. Rice's biggest contribution to college football is a JFK speech from 60 years ago. Why do we want to go to the moon? Why does Rice play Texas? Easy answer. They were in the same conference. That's why. Jack, I know what you're going for there, and it was a great speech, but that's why. Man, the Rice Owls. Talk about a school that can use the Colgate excuse.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely.
They're not good at anything anymore. They're not good at baseball anymore.
No, they were not.
Which they have a national championship in baseball.
Yeah.
03, Lance Berkman.
Lance Berkman went through. Yeah.
But they suck at everything. Everything. Braden, you need to take that over.
Fix them. Yeah.
Oh, could you imagine a Rice UMass? Like, obviously that's not going to be
game?
That's not going to be in the championship. That's ridiculous. But like the first round on campus, Amherst, Massachusetts, all the Rice fans travel up. What do you think?
All 12 of them? Sorry, Rice fans.
Yeah, it's also that they not only do they suck at everything, but their students and alumni couldn't give less of a shit.
Yep.
Could not give less of a shit. And a big reason is like they also probably don't live there. You know, people who go to Rice are coming from all over.
Right.
All over. And it's private. Like UT, their students come from all over, but also Austin's a big town, and it's a public school, and not that Houston isn't a big town, but you know what I mean. You know what I mean.
Have you been
it's
to
like
the Rice?
Harvard. I mean, Harvard people are all over the place.
Have you been in the Rice campus?
Yeah.
It's beautiful.
It's really nice.
It's really nice.
It's really nice. They kicked me off once they found out my GPA. They didn't even let me look at it. All right. So to recap, mine was Minnesota, Navy, UMass. Yours was
Northwestern, Vanderbilt, and Rice.
You did find a theme there.
Yeah.
You did find a theme.
I
It's
didn't
no wonder you
realize
went to
that
Baylor, man.
Yeah.
Love for the pub kids. Where's it at? Where's it at? Anyway, that's our 3. We're going to build that into a dynasty. We'll keep you updated on that. Someone, if you want to send me, someone down in the comments, please Venmo me $600 so I can get the game in the console, please. Please. Anyway, we're also going to talk about guys naming dudes, where we find the players that the streets remember. Braden has got one cooking, has had one cooking in the oven. Can't wait to bring that to you on the Cam Show Rogue Media Sports Network next. It is Guys Naming Dudes on this Friday. We love bringing to you the people that you might have forgotten. This is essentially what this is becomes a history lesson to Braden a lot of the time. Where I'm just like, nah, Braden, you had to be there. How many years younger are you than me? What, 6?
6, almost 7.
Yeah. So that's like, it's like my protege, like, nah, man, you had to be there, man. Fausto Carmona.
So then does that make me like the grandpa of the room?
A little bit, yeah.
Yeah.
A little bit, yeah.
Cool. Well, I do feel slightly out of touch with everything you are talking about, so that I'm feeling
Kyle
pretty well.
Filipowski
If you're
and
the
his girlfriend?
if you're the grandpa, what does that make Mike? Is Mike like the great?
Yeah, no, Mike.
Mike is like Shredder's dad.
He's. I'm have to form us. I get together with all of us and like, guys, we got to go visit your great grandpa. It's not looking good. Like, come on, I know.
I was wondering where you were going with that sentence,
Saturday.
by the way.
Just give me one Saturday. That's all I ask, guys. Come on, please. It's that kind
That's
of thing.
like, yeah, that's like my dad, like with my grandparents, of like, guys, they really love you. Come on, it's a couple hours. You'll be fine. I know it's boring. Like, that's what it's like with Mike.
Yeah.
But I promise you don't have to be that young to know this Kyle Filipowski thing. It's a couple weeks old now. But basically just that, I mean, you'll look up her picture here.
Yeah.
She looks fucking tapped. She looks fucking insane. And, like, I think blatantly enough that you should be able to tell at first, even as a 17-year-old. Like, this girl's pretty, but she also looks completely nuts. I don't know. Anyway, that's not for this. This is guys naming dudes. Maybe one day Filipowski will be a dude. Who knows? But what this is we're taking a look at the players who had some good peaks or had some great storylines and have just been like forgotten to history, but are formative parts of our childhoods or our sports rooting experiences. Who wants to go first?
I don't mind going first.
Zach's going first.
Zach is going first.
All right. So this is a guy. I feel like we're gonna have a little bit of a theme this week, and I'm totally fine with that. I feel like I'm on board with the rest of it. This is a guy.
Oh yeah,
who,
I mean we can do that. We're going back to school this week.
That's true.
Yeah.
We don't usually do so. It's usually pros who had great peaks, but also if these are like notable enough college guys, I'm okay with that too because that's a part of our childhood.
I'm
and our
going to
rooting
say
experience.
that
So we're
for
gonna do
my
college
childhood,
guys.
this was a team that everybody knows.
Zach's
right?
childhood, man.
Mm-hmm.
That was like Jim Crow, man.
Oh.
Zach's childhood. That's
I'm
just
a
like
little bit
black and
younger.
white.
You knew Adam, right?
Whoa.
Oh. Yeah.
He might be young, but
So-
he's got old man jokes, folks.
So, he is a running back. Okay. I'll
Okay.
go ahead and give you the position.
Okay.
He, while I would say that he's known for his college career, it's also kind of a sense of what could happen because even his college career was cut short.
Ooh.
But he's a guy who the one season that he went off.
What college sport did you say?
Football.
Football. Okay.
Willis McGahee.
You motherfucker.
Yeah, baby. Yeah. We might need to.
Wow.
We might need to stretch out this segment today. We don't usually get it that
Can
quick.
I let me go ahead and at least give
Yes,
give
please
Willis
do.
his due.
Please do. Yeah.
Because he was a phenomenal running back at the U there.
Yeah.
He was a part of the national championship team in 2001. 2002 was the year that he broke out, though. I think he had 10 100-yard games, which set a Big East record at the time. He ran for like 1,700 yards that year. There's only 6 other running backs in the history of college football that I think have had more touchdowns in a season. I think he finished with like 28 or 29 that year. And if it weren't for a knee injury in the fourth quarter against Ohio State of that
gruesome
championship game,
knee injury, by
yes,
the way. Really gross.
that I think probably affected his pro career a bit, and just kind of him. I mean, who knows? Maybe he comes back again for
couple
another
years
year.
in the pros.
Yeah, he
This
did.
is like kind of like C.J. Anderson.
Well, I think he's better because he was 2-time Pro Bowler.
Yeah.
Um,
C.J. made a Pro Bowl.
the knee injury was very bad. I think he had a insurance policy of like $2.5 million that he ended up not getting taken out and deciding to go into the draft. At one point in time, he was considered to easily be a top 5 pick. Due to that knee injury, though, he fell all the way to 23
Wow.
in that first round with the Bills.
Buffalo, yeah.
But bad enough, though, where he missed his entire first season rehabbing from that. Comes back. I think he still had, I counted 4,000-plus yard seasons in the league. 2 Pro Bowls, one in 2007 with the Ravens and the other one in 2011 with the Bills. Aside from that that 2001 BCS National Championship, in 2002 he was the Big East because that was still the conference at the time.
Yep.
Offensive Player of the Year as well as consensus All-American and first team All Big East. But
Well, you knew it wasn't the ACC because Miami actually won the conference.
but they also they beat everybody at the time though
Yes.
too. But still, Willis McGahee was just a dude.
The dude, man.
and through.
Absolutely.
So that's
Good
mine.
player, not unlike, not to be confused with Marshawn, but Marcus Lattimore of South Carolina.
Here's one thing.
Well, that wasn't yours, was it, Braden?
No.
Okay, good.
I do
Good.
need to add
like
this
good,
though.
really productive college back, has a gruesome injury. Lattimore didn't have an NFL career, and Willis McGahee did. So
I will add this one thing because on
Okay.
Wikipedia, I just found it funny because you brought up Marshawn Lynch. It brings up Willis McGahee like
I didn't bring up
personal life.
Marshawn Lynch.
Oh, you brought up Marshawn Lattimore. Hearing Marshawn made me think of Marshawn
He did
Lynch
play with Marshawn
because
Lynch
the two of
with
them
the
played
Bills.
at Buffalo
Yeah.
together. But it leads to this.
Don't put words in my mouth.
I'm
you
not.
fuck.
Hey, you already guessed it so early. I'm just
Yeah,
still a
that's
little pissed.
That's true.
Marshawn Lynch, not Marshawn Lattimore. The two
Or
played
Marcus
together
Lattimore.
in Buffalo, but it had under personal life here, which I find very odd on Wikipedia. It
Love a
says,
good personal life section. of Wikipedia.
McGahee was known for both.
Oh.
This is the same breath for both his dislike of Applebee's,
Okay.
and then it says in parentheses, which his successor in Buffalo, Marshawn Lynch, lampooned in an ESPN skit with Kenny Mayne and his multiple children with various women in his life.
We gotta find that. What's wrong with Applebee's? I mean, it's not Chili's,
But I just love it's the same brother. They're like, he's known for both his dislike of Applebe's and the fact that he has a lot of kids with a lot of different women. They led with the Applebee's thing, which is just a little.
Because that's the most heinous, really.
That's
not spreading that seed around, not ever wrapping it before you tap it, but it's just that you hate
I
it.
just love they lead in with the Applebee's quote on that. But yeah, so my guy's Willis McGahee, who was for sure a dude, man.
Definitely.
All right.
Definitely, man.
Who's next? I didn't expect mine to be guessed so quickly.
I'm looking through my guy's recruiting page.
I did think about his other U teammate for a bit, and Clinton Portis.
That's a good one.
But just
similar kind of pro career.
Those U running backs just. I mean, I wasn't going to pick Ken Dorsey, so.
No, he might have spoiled it for the future next time we go back to college.
Maybe.
Wikipedia should sponsor this.
Oh, that would be great.
That'd be nice.
But they're always
they don't have any money. But
yeah, I was about to say
they should sponsor this because we're always working off of this.
Do you think that they'll just be like, yeah, you can just say brought to you by Wikipedia, like we can just like free.
I'll send you an Applebee's gift card in the mail. Is there anywhere around here? This is not going to be good for YouTube at all. But is there any Applebee's around here?
There is.
There was the one. Well, did
I think
it
closed.
Though?
Oh,
right? Did it? Maybe it did close.
And that was on the other. That was on the other side of town, right?
There's one more somewhere. Yeah. It's not the one down.
Like
valley.
Way down Valley Mills.
Yeah.
There was one. Yeah. All right, Braden.
Okay. So the last time I did a college player, y'all said, and this guy is too obscure.
A little obscure.
Levi Norwood.
Yeah.
Levi Norwood.
I covered that team and kind of forgot about him. No, nothing against
Levi
Levi
Norwood. It took me
Norwood.
a lot. I think I had to get the number.
I was just expecting like a little bit. Yeah.
And so I brought in my guy, and I didn't disclose who it was before the show, but I think Cam might have figured out who it was. I don't know if you did, Zach.
I don't think I did.
Okay. So.
I'll wait on this one.
What?
I'll wait on this one.
Okay. My guy, in high school, he was the number 11 ranked quarterback in his class, committed to Clemson. He didn't play a lot at Clemson. He played 5 games, and in April of his freshman year, he was dismissed from the team for conduct detrimental to the team.
Okay.
So he transferred to East Mississippi.
Okay.
The next year, where
that's Last Chance U.
Yeah,
that's the original Last Chance U.
Okay. Well, I know I watched the first season. Maybe he was on the first season then.
He threw for 47 touchdowns, and he led the team to the NJCAA championship that year. After that, he goes to Ole Miss.
Oh, it's what is his name though? Dang it.
He has a famous uncle.
Because he just they found him sitting in somebody in their like living room.
That is correct.
When he played for the Broncos.
He played for the Broncos.
Is it Chad? Is Chad Kelly?
It
his
is
name?
Chad Kelly.
There we go, baby.
It is Chad Kelly. Chad Kelly, I don't know. She was like kind of a douchebag.
He definitely gave off that vibe his whole life.
He was. Yeah. I don't think he was ever on. I think the show Last Chance U started after.
Yeah, it was after. Yeah.
But I remember him.
And like Garrett Blunt, both played.
Oh, the Wi-Fi just went out. Hold on. I remember him for his bowl game performance against Oklahoma State in the Sugar Bowl.
Yes. 2015.
2016.
January 1 of 16.
Yes.
Yeah. Sorry.
Yeah.
Yeah, Ole Miss Rebel, big time.
I remember at that point I didn't know who Jim Kelly
superstar.
I didn't know who Jim Kelly was, and they kept showing him. I was like, "Oh, who is this guy? He must be important." And then I followed Chad throughout the rest of his college career. I followed him. I was happy when he got drafted. He was Mr. Irrelevant, and then he didn't play. And then he recently got kicked off and but suspended from the CFL too.
Ooh,
oh man, you got to really do something bad for Canada to say no.
Can I admit something to you?
They said
guys?
yes to Manziel and Bryles.
Yes,
for a little bit.
I did not realize until right now that he was Jim Kelly's son.
His nephew.
Sorry,
there's a good reason why I didn't know it was his son.
But I didn't realize he was related to Jim Kelly.
Yeah.
All right.
Which leads me to believe so he played at major college football programs and is the nephew to Jim Kelly, which would make me think he's probably gotten away with a lot. You know what I mean? He's probably gotten out of a lot of things.
Oh, like just the things we know about
and
might be the
still
tip of
has all of this. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh,
Like, you know what I mean?
out of college, so his senior year he tore his ACL,
That's right.
but he was still considered one of the top, draftable quarterback. And the NFL rescinded his scouting combine invitation.
What?
We do not
When
want
is
you
that?
in this league. We don't want you in this league.
Well, he thinks it's because he didn't pass the background check because he had been arrested. But he was trying to
Players
get.
have gotten arrested, though.
Well, yeah, but
You know what I mean?
he thinks that's
Yeah.
because.
Yeah.
Because of that.
I'm pushing back at Chad right now.
But he was trying to see if he could get his uncle Jim to convince the NFL, hey, you know who I am, right? You should let my nephew.
How much do you
Come to the
feel
combine.
like
I
you
bet
just
Jim.
hate that
I'll
it's
bet Jim thinks he's a fucking loser. Like, I'll bet Jim is like, I'm not doing this shit for you anymore.
Yeah.
Well, I would
You
just
know?
think after a while, I'd be like, hey, they won't let me in. Come on, you talk to him. Like, what do? You just like call somebody like, hey, Chad called. Yeah, I know. Come on, but it's me. I know I asked before, but it's me. Like, you know.
Poor
That's
Jim
him,
Kelly's
that's
fucking dying. and
Yeah.
he's trying to, like, literally, like, suffering from cancer. Braden knows.
I think he
And
got it
he's-
like three or multiple times, yeah.
Yeah, like, was in bad shape. Like, I'm
Right.
surprised he's still alive. And is calling Goodell's office, like, hey, please take my nephew. Like, fuck off, dude. How would you stop getting arrested?
Yeah.
Maybe that'll help. And then crawling to your sickly uncle for help. I hate that.
Not a great.
I hate
Not
that.
great. But in 2020, early 2024, there were allegations that Kelly made attempts of unwanted romantic advances
Huh.
and instances of threatening language towards a coach in the Toronto Argonauts organization,
A
leading
female coach?
to that coach
I would
getting
think so.
fired.
Oh, the coach. Oh.
So now there's an investigation into wrongful termination, and Chad is suspended for 9 games.
So it sounds like what that sounds like is he. Made
Imagine
the
if that happened to
advance.
Brett Favre or Peyton Manning.
He made the advance, got rebuffed, and then was a dick about it.
Mm-hmm.
And
Yep. Or
she
used
got
his dick
fired.
about it. Yeah.
Yeah, that's what it sounds like there.
What an
Yep.
ass. What an ass. Wow. All right. 2 down. Lil Spaghetti, Chad Kelly.
All right.
Well,
Here's the thing: we already have a quarterback and a running back. Do you have somebody out wide for us?
I
Yeah.
don't. I don't.
Okay.
A
I
tackle?
don't.
What
I'm
about
really
the other
sorry.
side of the ball?
Other side of the
Is
ball.
he a defensive player?
No,
Okay.
it is a quarterback.
Oh, we got a QB
Um,
battle going on though. Let's see. What
And
this is.
make no mistake, this was my favorite college quarterback.
Wait, hold on. Before,
Ooh, okay.
I loved watching this guy.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'll say it afterwards.
In fact, my top 2 college quarterbacks of my childhood both had the same first name, which is not a very popular first name. But this guy was a Heisman finalist in 06 or 07.
Okay.
Probably finished top 6 or 7 in Heisman voting both years. Finished 6 in 06 and was a finalist in 07, so he was there.
Okay.
In New York. He broke the touchdown pass record for a single season. He threw 58 touchdowns.
Did he play out?
Not a traditional power.
Yeah. No. Did
I used to watch him a lot because they were featured late at night.
That's what I was about to say. Because is it because of the
on
time
ESPN
difference
all
out
the
there?
time. Yep.
Man, it's got to take, and I would assume it takes a toll on teams to drive out there to play them. Brandon,
Yeah.
you know who this is? I think I know. Hold on. You said the other favorite had the same first name?
Yeah. I'm not proud of it now, but
Oh, okay.
I don't know.
Do you remember didn't he have like blonde hair and like a black spot at one point?
Yes.
I know exactly. Well, okay.
you could say it if you want.
Hold on.
Yeah.
Now I'm blanking. Well, I have this, and now I'm just like losing his last name.
Oh, okay.
It starts with a B, does it not?
It does, yeah.
Is it Colt Brennan?
It's the late great Colt Brennan.
Yeah, there we go.
Yep. Braden,
The
before I go into
Hawaii
this,
Warriors.
how
I don't
much
know
do you
that.
know about Colt Brennan?
I don't know if I know anything about Colt Brennan.
Dude,
This is why we do this. This is why we do this right here, because you need to know about Colt Brennan. It's not your fault, Braden.
Mm-mm.
I'll go Robin Williams and Goodwill Hunting. It's not your fault,
Okay.
but you need to know about him. Colt Brennan, similar kind of start to his career as Chad Kelly, but turned it around. So Colt Brennan went to Mater Dei High School, which is legendary, Southern California. In fact, he was Matt Leinert's backup and then went to Worcester Academy in Massachusetts, which is kind of funny for a PG year. Gets a scholarship from Colorado, ends up getting kicked out of Colorado, where he was accused of sexual misconduct. I think he exposed himself or something along those lines. Had to go to JUCO and then went to Hawaii, and he becomes a legend, a football player that transcends into the culture of this place. He falls in love with Hawaii. Hawaii falls in love with him. June Jones gets there around the same time. So he's like a total air raid kind of offense, and Colt Brennan is that kind of quarterback. He bleached his hair, and he left the brown spots to be the state outline of Hawaii in the Hawaiian Islands. And my dude's swag was off the fucking charts, okay? The black Hawaii uniform with the green numbers and
nice.
The black long sleeves and the visors. And he just looked the part. And then he just destroyed these teams, man. And that was the thing. Like ESPN2, 10 o'clock at night, you'd have a Hawaii versus San Jose State, Fresno State,
San Diego
Utah State,
yeah.
Boise State. That was obviously the big one in the WAC. And,
yeah.
and they had some great battles with Boise. And in 2007, his senior year, they were undefeated. They went to the Sugar Bowl. They got routed by Georgia, but it was so much fun, and the people of Hawaii fucking love this guy.
Was it that 2007 year or maybe it's the year after that? Kansas was good,
yeah,
and Rutgers was good. And it was just that one. I think that's 2007, right?
Yeah, it was all those revolving teams at number 2 with USF and BC.
Oh, I loved that season. So
West Virginia was there at the end, and then lost to Pitt.
Yes, that might be my favorite college football season.
Oh man, and we did lose Colt Brennan. He had drug issues throughout his life, and he passed away in 2021. Got a bit of a chance with the NFL. He played well in the preseason with the Redskins. Yeah, drafted in the 6th round, and he got hurt, and so they cut him loose. He played in some other football leagues. He played in the CFL. Communications major, Shiloh. And yeah, died in 2021. He had issues. He was not perfect. He had drug issues. He had law issues. I'm trying to see where it has it here. Yeah. Anyway, the keynote speaker at his graduation was wearing a Colt Brennan jersey. That's how much
nice.
that it meant. Yeah. So in 2021, he died. He also found out later he had CTE. So a sad story, but man, I get goosebumps talking about Colt Brennan, man. That dude, we can talk about the great college football players, but there are very few who actually really mean something to the place that they were at. Hawaii football before and since, nothing. Not even a blip on the radar. You can't get players to go there, even though it's beautiful, because you got to fly into another time zone for every road game you've got. It's not easy to join a conference. It's not easy to recruit. It's not easy to get fans in the stands. Colt Brennan did all of that and is a hero amongst Hawaiians. Complicated figure, sure, but man, you watch him sling it, Braden. He 58 touchdowns to 10 picks in his junior year. He was unbelievable. Please do yourself a favor later and watch some of those highlight tapes set to some 2007 pop punk, man. Fuck yes. Fire me up. Fire me up. I wanted them to, and I couldn't watch most of the Sugar Bowl because it was a school night versus they're always playing on Saturdays, and so I just remember wanting them to win so bad, and I had to wake up in the morning. First thing I did was fucking run over to the one computer in the house and find out they lost 41-10 or something.
Yeah, it wasn't pretty.
Sucked, but Colt Brennan, definitely my favorite college football player ever. It just brings me to a time and place, man. I'm gonna fucking cry talking about Colt Brennan. I fucking love Colt Brennan.
I
Oh,
found
that's like my number one dude ever.
Oh,
I found a fun
For
headline.
this, like, guys naming dudes.
oh, okay. I got you.
Not my favorite man ever,
Oh,
but he'd be in like the top 20.
hey, that's not bad though. I'd take you in top.
As someone who's got a huge family, that's probably not a good idea. But,
I found
Oh.
a fun headline in the citations of
Yeah.
Chad Kelly's Wikipedia page, and it's from Saturday Down South, and it's Tim Tebow, Cam Newton, Johnny Manziel, Dak Prescott, ... Chad Kelly. And it was just like, this guy could be the next great SEC quarterback.
he was pretty good.
He was, but then he tore his ACL, and
Mhm.
And can I find a Colt Brennan jersey, by the way? This is
Probably
a direct
not.
he probably
message to the fucking University of Hawaii, or I don't know, Nike, whomever needs to fucking hear this. I need a Colt Brennan jersey, okay? I can go to DH Gate and find one that's like this, the current style of Hawaii with the number 15, but it is not the black jersey with the green numbers. That's all I want.
There's
I
one-
want the Colt Brennan jersey.
There's one on eBay right now for $250.
Yeah, I've seen that one. It's a piece of shit. It doesn't have his name on the back, right? Exactly.
I don't think so.
And they're gouging it because they know there are people like me who are scratching their neck for a Colt Brennan jersey. Maybe that's not the best example to
Yeah,
use when talking
maybe
about
it
Colt
is.
Brennan, but man, I would I need a 30 for 30.
On
Can I
what?
change my answer for what we need for 30 for 30s? I need Colt Brennan's life intertwined with the rise of Hawaii football. I will do it. Can we get Mike? Get Mike. We'll get the cameras. We'll go out to Hawaii. We'll do this shit.
I'm down for that.
I've got a place to stay when we go to interview his high school coach at Worcester Academy.
Nice.
Okay, we can make this fucking happen. I'll write a book. I don't give a shit. I love Colt Brennan. I need this story out there. Anyway, that's Guys Naming Dudes. That is the Cam Show. Thank you for joining us for another week. We're going to be back on Monday with, I don't know, other shit. It is the Cam Show brought to you by Rogue Media Sports Network. Thank you to Zach. Thank you to Braden. Thank you to all the dudes. Thank you to Colt Brennan. Thank you. Can we make this the Colt Brennan Memorial Studio?
What about the Colt Brennan Memorial Guys Naming Dudes segment?
Potentially that as well. For now, from the Colt Brennan Memorial Studio, have a good weekend.
We are Rogue Media Sports.